A dead body? Well, what exactly happened? When Batman's son Damion Wayne and Superman's son Jonathan Kent team up for a mission, things take an unexpected turn. In this video, we'll try to uncover the mystery behind the mayor's dead bodies found. Our story begins in a seemingly pleasant suburban home with stylish decorations, a large TV, and a gathering of 5 family members in the living room. At first glance, everything appears perfect, but something feels off. The atmosphere is eerily quiet, with the television displaying nothing but silence. Most of the family sits in a peculiar silence doing nothing. In this unusual setting, one of the brothers named Reggie asks his sibling Archie for a handful of popcorn. Although initially reluctant, Archie quickly surrenders the entire bowl with a simple cough from Reggie. Oddly enough, everyone in the family seems to obey Reggie's every whim without question. His mother fetches him a blanket, his sister Sarah hands over a pillow, and even his father allows Reggie to take the wheel of the family car. It all feels strangely sinister. When Reggie suggests a group hug, the family hesitates, causing the bratty redhead to scream at them. As they finally embrace, it becomes evident that this seemingly perfect home is part of a film set, complete with overhead lights, multiple cameras, and monitors for playback. But what is truly happening here? Whatever it may be, it's enough to send Damion Wayne and Jonathan Kent dashing through the forest, desperately trying to escape from a barrage of laser blasts. The two heroes are angry with each other, each blaming the other for their current predicament. John accuses Damion of lying, while Damion argues that he merely omitted some information. They can't keep running forever, so they pause briefly, with Damion taking a protective stance to cover John's back. The time has come for Robin and Superboy to fight back. They must confront an army of robot duplicates that resemble them. How in the world did they end up here? 2 days earlier, in Superman's family home in Hamilton County, we find a tired Jonathan Kent trudging outside on a cold, snowy day, just in time to catch the school bus. To his surprise, there's a new bus driver, an older man sporting round glasses and a bushy white mustache. John sits next to his friend Kathy, but their conversation about her book report is interrupted when he notices something troubling. 2 bullies named Frank and Brian torment Alan by shooting spitballs at him. Helplessly, all Alan can do is plead for the bullies to stop. Unable to sit idly by, John decides to intervene and confront the 2 dim-witted troublemakers, demanding they end their cruel behavior. They mockingly question John, asking if he believes he's some kind of Superman. Their taunts make him the new target of their mischief. The bus driver intervenes, yelling at the kids to stop, and John takes his seat. However, that's just the beginning of his eventful day. After school, John is excited about a snowball fight. Eager to have some fun, he invites Alan and Olivia to join him. Unfortunately, Frank and Brian, the troublemakers, haven't changed their ways. They gather more friends and arm themselves with an abundance of snowball ammunition. It's a full-fledged snow war between John and his friends against the bullies. Frank and Brian escalate their misbehavior by packing rocks and other snowballs and violently launching them at the other children. John manages to evade the projectiles, but his friends suffer injuries. Enraged, John considers using his heat vision against the bullies but resists the temptation. Instead, he strategizes with his friends, instructing them to shield their faces and prepare for a counterattack. Suddenly, a large heap of snow tumbles from the roof, burying the bullies beneath it. John wonders if they have a guardian angel. Spotting a figure on the rooftop, he questions the person's intentions. It turns out to be none other than the bus driver, who is Damion Wayne. Damion, who has been homeschooled all his life, even served as John's substitute science teacher. Astonished, John jokes about Damion's extraordinary upbringing, including driving at 5. Damion reveals that his life has been far from ordinary, with his mother disposing of his professor in the ocean. Damion takes John back home, driving the bus for one last ride before returning to Wayne Manor. However, Damion still has the training to complete. When Batman mentions the possibility of ending the session early, Damion eagerly tries to outmaneuver Alfred and prepare himself, much to Alfred's disapproval. Unfortunately, Batman decides not to take Damion along for the mission, causing Damion to neglect his homework and follow John instead. Damion believes studying is a waste of time since he already knows everything, but Batman insists that he takes his studies seriously. Left alone, Damion reluctantly continues his studies, keeping his promise to his father. Meanwhile, Jonathan Kent engages in a game of poker with his parents. John shares the story of the snowball fight at school, proudly recounting how he stood up to the bullies without using his powers to harm others. Lewis and Clark's parents express their pride in him and assure him that he's a hero even without his superhero costume. Lewis effortlessly wins the poker game, and Superman bids farewell to his family as he heads off to assist the Justice League. He lovingly kisses both Louis and John before soaring into the night sky. With his father gone, it's time for John to go to bed. Settling under the moonlight for a peaceful sleep, John startles as Damion narrowly avoids his heat vision. Damion teasingly remarks about John's early bedtime, igniting a playful exchange of insults. Louis overhears their conversation, but John quickly covers for Damion by pretending to shut down his laptop. Afterward, John questions Damion about the situation. Damion reveals Robin's plan to involve John in an investigation in Metropolis where someone has been breaking into Lex Luthor's labs. Eager to uncover the truth, they embrace their super alter egos and prepare to confront Lex Luthor. In a swift motion, Damion swings into action while John, yet to master flying, leaps alongside him. As they approach LexCorp Tower, John offers to carry Damion on his back for a quicker journey, but Damion declines, asserting his experience as Robin. Despite their excitement, John worries about the potential trouble they may encounter. The first challenge arises, a formidable Lex Luthor in his flying battlesuit. Meanwhile, Reggie engages in a twisted game of hide-and-seek with his family in a mysterious studio. As Reggie ruthlessly confronts each family member, the situation turns increasingly brutal. Eventually, Sarah, the sister, seizes an opportunity to escape. In Metropolis, John and Damion must find a way to explain their presence to Lex Luthor. John panics, fearing the consequences for his family. Unfazed, Damion taunts Lex about his inability to cure baldness. Damion then attempts to leave, but he hurls John toward the ground. Robin, grinning, points out Lex's problem. John can't fly. Lex swoops down, determined to rescue John. Fortunately for Damion, he had a spare grapple gun that allowed him to regain access to the rooftop. As Lex desperately struggled to grab the squirming and terrified John, Damion's break-in was already underway. He swiftly approached the rooftop while Lex tried to extract information from John. The young Superboy protested, claiming he didn't want to be there. In a desperate attempt to escape, John kicked Lex as hard as he could, breaking free from his grip and bolting into a nearby alleyway. Meanwhile, Damion had reached the elevator shaft and dived towards a secret building floor that wasn't on the public blueprints. Breaking into the confidential area, he knew he had limited time to investigate before either John or Luthor showed up. With just 20 seconds, Damion had to use every moment wisely. Back in the alleyway, John thought he had finally eluded Lex, but his relief was short-lived. Lex caught him by the collar, holding him at a distance this time. John tried to devise an excuse, claiming it was all just a prank. However, given their physical abilities, Lex was not convinced. John fabricated a story about breaking out of an orphanage to meet Lex Luthor, who had made himself into Superman. Lex remained unmoved, prompting John to realize his lie was falling apart. Before he could be brought into custody, John kicked Lex with all his strength, escaping his grasp again. He sprinted into a nearby alley, seeking refuge. Meanwhile, Damion continued his mission inside the secret floor, fully aware that time was running out. He discovered a wealth of confidential information that could be crucial for his investigation. With a smug grin, he knew he had to make the most of the remaining seconds. Lex, determined to apprehend John, hurried to save his lab from the planted explosives. As he focused on the threat, Damion took the opportunity to retreat and join John in the alleyway. Knowing they had to leave quickly, Damion used his grapple gun to navigate the LexCorp elevator shaft swiftly. Within moments, they were gliding over the cityscape of Metropolis. Eventually, Damion decided to let John go, considering the operation a great success from his perspective. However, John was less enthusiastic, pointing out the close calls and the potential trouble they could have faced. Damion shrugged off the concerns, emphasizing that avoiding trouble was still a victory. Wary of being used and manipulated, John regretted ever training with Batman and Robin, but Damion remained indifferent, stating that he had achieved what he came for. As Damion reviewed the LexCorp security footage, he discovered something significant. The intruder who had broken into LexCorp earlier was Reggie, the same kid who had terrorized his family. Damion quickly shared the information with John, who, feeling overwhelmed, decided to take a break and get some snacks. With nearly 200 hours of footage to analyze, Damion was determined to comb through every moment to uncover Reggie's motives. Once he understood clearly, he planned to present his findings to Batman, expecting his father to follow his lead. Damion prepared to return to Gotham on his Robin bike, ready to continue his investigation. However, before he could leave, John made a surprising discovery. Using his superhuman vision, John watched the footage at an accelerated pace and found multiple instances of Reggie breaking into different parts of LexCorp simultaneously. Damion was intrigued by this revelation and realized Reggie's actions were more complex than they initially seemed. Determined to solve the mystery, Damion connected his grapple hook to the nearby wall, signaling that he already had a lead on Reggie. They were determined to confront Reggie and uncover the truth. Damion picks himself up from the floor, refusing to abandon the investigation. Meanwhile, John lands in a nearby forest, still nauseous and shaken by the gruesome sight. However, his heightened senses detect someone hiding nearby. Sarah, Reggie's sister and the sole survivor of the Meyer family from the warehouse incident. Damion compares the photo from the newspaper to the deceased bodies and notices a discrepancy. There are 5 chairs and 5 family members, but only 3 bodies, including Reggie's. With 4 bodies in front of him, it becomes evident that someone is missing from the scene. However, the 2 greatest superheroes of all time loom behind them: Superman, ready to confront Robin, and Batman on Superboy's trail. Their expressions indicate they are far from pleased. As the mystery unfolds, we are left wondering what exactly is happening. So that's it, folks. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe, because if you're a comic book fan, then this is the place to be.